Okay, so another form of government intervention that is going to create some sort of inefficiency and disrupt the equilibrium in our market is taxes. Okay, so we're going to be talking about per unit taxes. Okay, so suppose that the government places a per unit tax, right, $1.50 per pack tax on cigarettes. Okay, on producers. Okay, so that's another distinction that we need to make. It's who is this tax being placed on? It's being placed on producers. So what happens is now at every point on our original supply curve, our S1, right, for every point, it's going to shift up by $1.50, okay, on the y-axis. Okay, so the size of this tax is pushing our supply curve up by $1.50. Okay, so what is our new equilibrium? Well, our new equilibrium is where S2, which is our new supply curve, intersects our old demand curve, right? There's nothing happening to the demand curve, right? The demand curve is not shifting. So this point right here, that point is our new, I'm just going to write EQ for equilibrium. Okay, so what happens now is we have a new quantity that is being bought and a new quantity that is being sold. Okay, so let's say that this is $5.50. Okay, so we're just going to write $5.50 here. And let's say that this X value is 18. Okay, so 18 cigarettes. And does this make sense? I would say so, right? Because our new supply curve has shifted to the left, and it intersects our demand at this point, right? This point right here. And what happens is the quantity that is being bought and sold is decreasing, but the price is increasing. Okay, so that is kind of what we expect to happen. Okay, so now let's think about what's happening here graphically. Well, our equilibrium has shifted now to 18 packs of cigarettes sold at a price of $5.50. Well, $5.50 is actually the price that consumers are paying, right? So consumers now pay $5.50, right? Before they were paying $4.50 because that was the equilibrium, but the new equilibrium is $5.50. So consumers are now paying $5.50. Okay, are producers receiving $5.50? Right? How much money are producers receiving? Well, it's not $5.50, right? Producers don't receive $5.50, and the reason for that is because they have to pay $1.50 per pack back to the government, right? So $5.50 is the price at which consumers are buying these cigarettes now, but producers have to take that $5.50 per pack that they sell and give $1.50, the size of the tax. So I'm gonna write T equals 150 here. They have to give the size of the tax back to the government, right? So the price that they actually receive is this value right here, right? That's the price that they actually receive, and that comes out to be $4. Sorry, it's not 100% drawn to scale, but this will be $4. Okay, because the size of this tax, remember, is $1.50. So if they're going to get $5.50, they have to give back. Well, they only get $4 because the difference between $5.50 and $4 is $1.50, and that's how much they're giving back to the government. Okay, so let me draw this straight line. This is T equals 150. That's the size of our tax. Okay. So producers now receive $4, right? And what happens to the government? Right. Well, the government is going to collect tax revenue, right? The government is going to collect $1.50 per pack of cigarette sold, right? So if the government is collecting revenue, so let's write government revenue here of $1.50 per pack of cigarettes sold. Well, how many packs are being sold? In this new equilibrium, 18 packs of cigarettes are being sold, right? So the government is going to collect $1.50 times 18, right? So the government collects, the government collects $27 of tax revenue. Okay, the government collects $27 of tax revenue, and that's essentially like finding the area of this rectangle. Okay, actually, let's use a different color. Let's use dark green. So this area of this rectangle, right, is going to come out to be 27. And that's going to be the size of the tax. That's going to be the width. And the length is going to be essentially how many units are sold. Okay, it's going to be the area of this triangle. This is going to denote our government revenue. Okay, so notice that we haven't really had to solve for anything. It's more so just a graphical representation of what is happening in our supply and demand model, how much revenue we're getting, and what the price that producers are actually receiving, right? There's a difference between the price that consumers receive and the difference between the price that producers are receiving, okay? So now what I want to do is I want to talk about tax incidence, okay? So now we want to talk about tax incidence. And recall what tax incidence is, right? Tax incidence is actually the true division of the burden that falls on consumers and producers. Okay, so tax division is going to be the true division of the burden that this tax places on consumers and producers, right? Well, producers are actually the people who have to give $1.50 per pack back to the government, right? But what about the burden? Okay. What about the burden of the tax? Who does this fall more on? Is it consumers or producers? Well, let's think about this. So let's go back to the graph. Well, in equilibrium, our price was $4.50, right? This is our original equilibrium. That was $4.50. In equilibrium, consumers paid $4.50, but because of this tax, now they're paying $5.50, right? Now they're paying $5.50, so the price has increased for them by $1, right? So consumers face a $1 price increase. Okay, what about producers? Well, let's go back to the graph. What's happening for producers is they were receiving $4.50 per pack of cigarettes that they sold, but now they're only receiving $4, right? So for them, the price that they were getting before in the original equilibrium and now the difference is only 50 cents, right? $4.50 to $4. So producers now get 50 cents less. Okay, now producers are getting 50 cents less. Well, if it's $1.50 tax, then that means that consumers are facing $1 of that burden. So consumers are facing $1 of that $1.50 burden, and this comes out to be 2/3, or roughly 66%. Okay, and producers are only facing 50 cents of that tax, of that $1.50 tax, right? Because the price they're receiving now is 50 cents. So their burden is only 1/3, or roughly 34%. Okay, or about 34%. Okay, so that's how we want to calculate the burden of the tax. Okay, we're essentially looking at the graph and we're seeing, okay, what is the difference between this new equilibrium when we have the tax and the difference between that and our old equilibrium, right? What was the price that consumers were receiving before and what's happening now? And right, what was the price that producers were receiving for selling this tax, selling these cigarettes before, and what's the price that they're receiving now? Okay, so that's how we want to talk about tax incidence, and based on this example, we see that consumers are actually facing a greater burden of this tax. Okay, so notice that we haven't really done any sort of calculations. We really just want to think about taxes in this class just via looking at the graph. Okay, it's just going to be a graphical interpretation of what is occurring and what's happening to government revenue and what the tax incidence / burden is going to be. Okay, thanks.